We are now on Genesis chapter 1, verse 20, and the title of our short devotional is The Living Creatures. Let me read to you the passage before we start. Genesis chapter 1, verse 20. And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky." I still can remember when I was a kid, my dad and I love to watch movies, and we watched together this movie entitled Jurassic Park. How many of you can relate to that movie? In the movie, I saw all sorts of dinosaurs. I saw good dinosaurs who are so gigantic, and I also saw dinosaurs who are so wicked that they have nothing to do but eat all they can, including humans. In short, they are carnivorous kind of living creatures. At the end of the movie, people put the relics in cages and isolate them into an island wherein they can survive. And the scientist is studying their nature to find out why they are going extinct. But don't you know that the Bible tells about living creatures that same as the dinosaurs? Let's find out in our verse. The living creatures. This is day 5 of God's creation. God created this time living creatures to fill the waters, the oceans, rivers, and lakes, etc. Not only that, but God also created creatures that fly above the ground across the sky. Genesis chapter 1, verse 20. Moreover, these creatures, including the extraordinarily large ones, included all sorts of fish and mammals and even dinosaurs. Job chapter 40, verse 15, down to chapter 41, verse 1. Let's read Job chapter 40, verse 15 to verse 24. Behold, Behemoth, which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword. For the mountains yield food for him where all the wild beasts play. Under the lotus plants he lies, in the shelter of the reeds and the marsh. For his shade the lotus trees cover him, the willows of the brook surround him. Behold, if the river is turbulent, he is not frightened. He is confident though Jordan rushes against his mouth. Can one take him by his eyes or pierce his nose with a snare? Can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook or press down his tongue with a cord? Job chapter 41, verse 1. The biblical dinosaur. Dinosaurs, what is that? Are there dinosaurs mentioned in the Bible? What is a dinosaur? Those who believe in a younger age for the earth tend to agree that the Bible does mention dinosaurs, though it never actually uses the word dinosaur. Instead, it uses the Hebrew word tanin, which is translated a few different ways in our English Bibles. Sometimes it's sea monster, and sometimes it's serpent. It is most commonly translated as dragon. The Tanin appear to have been some sort of giant reptile. These creatures are mentioned nearly 30 times in the Old Testament and were found both on land and in the water. The Bible mentions two kinds of dinosaurs. Number one, Behemoth, and number two, Leviathan. Let's learn first Behemoth. What is Behemoth? Behemoth in the Old Testament, a powerful grass-eating animal whose bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. Job chapter 40, verse 18. Another illustration about the behemoth. It is said to be the mightiest of all God's creatures, a giant whose tail is likened to a cedar tree. Job chapter 40, verse 15. Some scholars have tried to identify the behemoth as either an elephant or hippopotamus. Others point out that elephants and hippopotamuses have very thin tails, nothing comparable to a cedar tree. Dinosaurs like the Brachiosaurus and the Diplodocus, on the other hand, had huge tails which could easily be compared to a cedar tree. Second, the Leviathan. In Isaiah chapter 27 verse 1, Leviathan is a serpent and a symbol of Israel's enemies, who will be slain by God. In Job chapter 41, it is a sea monster and a symbol of God's power of creation. What happened to these living creatures? The topic of dinosaurs in the Bible is part of a large ongoing debate within the Christian community over the age of the earth, the proper interpretation of Genesis, and how to interpret the physical pieces of evidence we find all around us. Those who believe in older age for the earth tend to agree that the Bible does not mention dinosaurs because, according to their paradigm, dinosaurs died out millions of years before the first man ever walked the earth. The man who wrote the Bible could not have seen living dinosaurs. And that is the problem today because the Bible mentions those gigantic creatures that were equivalent to the dinosaurs. Every ancient civilization has some sort of art depicting giant reptilian creatures, petroglyphs, artifacts, and even little clay figurines found in North America resemble modern depictions of dinosaurs. Rock carvings in South America depict men riding diplodocus-like creatures and, amazingly, bear the familiar images of Triceratops-like, Pterodactyl-like, and Tyrannosaurus rex-like creatures. Roman mosaic, Mayan pottery, and Babylonian city walls all testify to man's transcultural, geographically unbounded fascination with these creatures. So, are there dinosaurs in the Bible? The matter is far from settled. It depends on how you interpret the available shreds of evidence and how you view the world around you. If the Bible is interpreted literally, a young earth interpretation will result. And the idea that dinosaurs and men coexisted can be accepted. If dinosaurs and human beings coexisted, what happened to the dinosaurs? While the Bible does not discuss the issue, dinosaurs likely died out sometime after the flood due to a combination of dramatic environmental shifts and the fact that they were relentlessly hunted to extinction by man. In life's application, the Bible mentions Behemoth and Leviathan. And truly, God has created those big, gigantic, monstrous creatures that live on the waters and on the ground. To end, our minds and hearts must not focus on whether or not there are dinosaurs that exist on Earth millions of years ago or lived sometime after the flood, but rather, our central focus must be on God and God alone. That He can create those living creatures and God is their maker. Either that creature is on the water or on the ground, God is and He is the creator and He made all living creatures. Amen.